Top 10 teams need to shut the fuck up and play every year, okay? College football is built on the back of rivalries, and sometimes politics get in the way of rivalries. Obviously, one of the most famous examples is Texas and Texas A&M not playing for the last 10 years. That's bullshit. They should have shut the fuck up and played. Now we will see them very soon playing every year because they'll be in the same conference. But there are others that get in the way. There are others that let politics get in the way of playing every year. We don't know if Oklahoma or Oklahoma State, we don't know when they're going to play together again after this Big 12 thing ends. So they're going to be added to the shut the fuck up and play list eventually. But right now, it's just teams that don't play that should play. And if I knew where the notes app was on my phone, I would have already talked. All right, I've got 10, okay? And I've got a bonus. I got a bonus too, okay? I'm creating 2 new rivalries.
Oh, wow. That's also a pretty good topic we can do one day. Create a rivalry.
Okay, we could do that. And if you want to just take that rabbit trail and go off on it, because I got 2. I want to create 2 rivalries right now that should be rivals but really aren't, okay? And they're number 10 and number 9. Number 10, tell me over the next 10 years, as long as Lincoln's there, why USC and Oklahoma shouldn't play every year.
Yes, I love that.
USC and Oklahoma right now, because they are both blue bloods. Yep. They are both big-time programs with national title potential, yes. They are both Heisman Trophy creating places. They both won national titles in the last 25 years. They're both at the top of the sport every year, and now they have one thing tying them together where Oklahoma fucking hates USC because of that bitch out west. Why not? Let's play every year.
Imagine that game.
I almost think I want to start a rule in college football. If a coach leaves a university with years remaining on his contract, wherever he goes, he has to play his old team the next year.
At his old team's place.
Either way. But I'm just saying, if you leave years on your contract, you have got to, you've got to return and play them the next year.
Yeah.
Now, if you're satisfied with your contract and you're just moving on, fine, whatever. No harm, no foul. But if you have 2 years left on your contract, say, you know what, I'm going out here. You got to come back and play. You got to come back and face your players.
And this opens up coaching free agency because guys, instead of re-signing, they'll just be like, you know what, I'm going to test the waters.
Imagine last year, LSU at Notre Dame in week 6.
Hell, send it to them. Send it to them. The team can pick too. Send the LSU boys up north in November.
I'm just saying. I think I've stumbled on one of the greatest ideas. We could save college football that doesn't need saving.
Yeah, that's one of the greatest ideas I think that's ever been uttered on this show.
It's probably the first. Yeah. Okay. Number 9, which somebody's going to be creating a graphic out of this. Number 9, and this is another rivalry I would like to start, okay? Because these teams once played for a national title. These teams share pretty much a geographical area. They're a lot closer than you think they are, and they recruit in the same circles. Who do you think I'm talking about here?
In the same area?
Same general area. They're in 2 different states, same general area, and they played for a national title in the last 10 years.
Is it Alabama and Clemson?
It's not.
Okay.
It's Florida State and Auburn.
Oh, yeah. They're right down the road.
They're like 3 hours apart. They're very close.
Much closer than Florida State and Miami.
And they both play they both have national title potential. They both have passionate fan bases. You know, Florida State has to waste their time playing in the ACC when, especially when they're good. They have to waste time playing teams that don't care about football. Why not every year Florida State and Auburn get together? Did you see how fucking electric Florida State and LSU was last year?
I know.
Imagine Florida State and Auburn every single year, which Auburn needs a new rivalry like I need a third tit, but doesn't matter. If I threw Florida State and Auburn together, that's a rivalry that would work.
Can you believe what the ACC has become? It's almost...
Not really. I mean, yeah, I can because it's kind of what it's always been. It's been a basketball-first conference with football powers in it, right?
Yeah, I guess it's just...
It's always been that.
But they don't... If you sat down the commissioner...
But if I told you in 2002 that we were going to add over the next 20 years, we already had Florida State, we're going to add Miami, we're going to have Virginia Tech, we're going to add all this, and you think, oh my God, you've made a basketball powerhouse into a football powerhouse, and it didn't really happen that way.
Yeah, I thought they were trying to, because if you sit all these commissioners down, they care about one thing and one thing only. It's football. Like, they care about basketball, without a doubt. You make money playing basketball, but look at what the SEC's become. It's a basketball conference now too.
All right, so here you go. 8 teams that need to shut the fuck up and play. This one doesn't really need to shut the fuck up and play. They play every now and then, but I feel like they should play every year. Clemson and Georgia. Clemson and Georgia are 2 power brokers in college football right now. They've been 2 of the most important programs over the last 10 years, and they played a couple times, but they're geographically so fucking close. And a lot of the Clemson legends that have built this dynasty, they went into Georgia and got them. Deshaun Watson from Georgia, Gainesville, Georgia, I believe. Trevor Lawrence from Cartersville, Georgia. Like, they've gone into Georgia and gotten a lot of players. Georgia, Clemson should play every year.
And they had some great games, man.
And hell, 2 years ago they opened the season. Georgia wins a 10-3 game or 10-7. I can't remember exactly what it was. They go on to win the national title. But that's not a really shut the fuck up and play. That's more like, hey, it's awesome when you play every year.
Yes.
Oklahoma and Nebraska should shut the fuck up and play every year. I know. They played the last 2 years, and Oklahoma walked the dog on them both times. But if Nebraska is going to get back to where they feel like they should be, and they're going to get back to respectability and being a big-time program, playing Oklahoma every year could be an avenue to that. Being in a big game, conjuring dreams of the game of the century, conjuring these images of the past would help them. I think Oklahoma-Nebraska, even though it was a laugher last year, it was still the most important and most looked forward to game that weekend.
Yes. No, also, if you remember, the fans were so excited for that. People were, I think that game was put at noon, and Oklahoma the year prior wanted it at 8 p.m. or something. And the Big 12 pretty much screwed them over, and it had a lot to do with them going to the SEC. If I don't, maybe I'm making that up, but I think there was a little bit of something there.
Number 6 on the list of teams that should shut up and play every year, Notre Dame and Michigan should play every year. I love when Notre Dame and Michigan get together. It's a classic rivalry. They don't play every year right now. I feel like they should play every single season, no matter what. Those 2 uniforms, those 2 teams, those 2 songs, they belong on the field together.
Yes, they do.
Number 5, teams that shut the fuck up and play every year. And these 2 teams now really starts my hatred here of teams that should shut the fuck up and play every single season, okay? Miami and Florida, there's no reason you don't play every year, okay? Now, I know Florida's going to say, but we play the SEC and we already played Florida State out of conference. Shut the fuck up, okay? There are 3 major rivalries in Florida. Florida State, Miami, Florida State, Florida, and Miami and Florida. The first 2 play every single season. This one doesn't. Why? Why not? They should play every single season. There's 3 schools at the top of that state. Why don't they play all of them every year? I don't know why.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with your first point. That out-of-conference schedule just would look brutal.
I think Florida is kind of a bunch of pussies, if we're being honest.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you.
Number 4, and this is getting fixed very soon, but they spent the last decade not playing, and it was cowardly and bullshit. Texas A&M, shut the fuck up and play. You soon will, but you still should be ashamed for the last decade of cowering from each other.
Yep.
Number 3, West Virginia and Pitt should play every single fucking year. Every single year, West Virginia and Pitt should play. They opened this. I don't know if they opened it. They either opened it or played the second week last. No, they opened it, right?
They opened it. It was a Thursday night. Penn State played Purdue. West
It
Virginia
was like
played
a 1-point
Pitt.
game. It was an absolutely incredible football game. It was awesome. I loved it. They should play every year. Number 2, Kansas and Missouri. Now, you might say, why is Kansas and Missouri so high? Because they fucking hate each other. This is hate that goes beyond generations. They hate each other. And Missouri, who doesn't really belong in the SEC, has tried to fake rivalries with Arkansas. They've tried to fake rivalries. They can't do it. So if you're going to be in the SEC and not really have an in-conference rival, fucking bring in Kansas and have you a hated game every single year. I don't know why they don't do it. Kansas, Missouri should play every year.
Yes, I missed that.
And my number 1, just because it's the best nickname I think it's the best nickname for a game in college football, Utah and BYU should play every single year. The Holy War, we should never have a season without a Holy War. They played a lot, and they played a lot recently, but I think they've only got 2 scheduled until in the next 10 years. They didn't play last year. Utah, BYU need to play every single year. That's my list of teams, is just shut the hell up and play.
It really stinks that Utah and BYU don't play every year. I almost was looking at the schedule last year and was like, when are they going to play? And they just didn't.
Okay, that was one of the ones you just assumed they play every year, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, and you're thinking about their schedule. Okay, well, they play the Pac-12 and then they play BYU. So whatever. But and then they just didn't play. You're like, when did that game happen? And no, it didn't happen.
It's one of the most hate-fueled rivalries we have, and it's just always, even when the game stinks, it's a great one to have.
And I think West Virginia Pitt last year was a great example of why these teams should play every year. That game felt so important last year.
Yeah, especially for 2 middle-of-the-road teams, and it's sold out, Heinz Field or whatever it's called now. So that goes to show the fan bases want it. There's so much nostalgia in bringing it back, and it matters. And you could tell how much it mattered to even the players. They felt the energy and whatnot, and they were young when it was a real quote-unquote rivalry.